Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. கேக்குதாமா?
Hello.
Hello. கேக்குதா? Hello. கேக்குதா?
Ah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. கேக்குது சார். கேக்குது மேம். கேக்குது சார்.
Hello.
கேக்குது
கேக்குதா?
கேக்குது மேம்.
கேக்குதா? சரி, ஓகே. ஓகே, ஓகே. ஸ்டார்ட்
கேக்குது
பண்ணலாமா?
மேம்.
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாமா?
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம். எஸ் சார், ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணு சார். ஸ்க்ரீன் ஷேர் பண்றீங்களா?
ஹலோ. ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாமா?
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் சார். ஸ்க்ரீன் ஷேர் பண்றீங்களா சார்?
ஹலோ. இந்த ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் பண்றதுலாம் ப்ராப்ளம். கோயிங் டு பி ஆடியோ கிளாஸ் டுடே.
ஓகே, ஓகே சார்.
இல்ல ஆடியோ கிளாஸா தான் இருக்க போகுது. என்னுடைய ஐபேட் வந்து லாகின் ஆகல. அதனால ஆடியோ கிளாஸா தான் இருக்க போகுது இப்போதைக்கு. ஓகே. I'll share the slides in the next class. ஓகேவா?
ஃபைன், ஃபைன் சார். எஸ் மேம்.
Cerebrovascular disease. Yeah, CVA வந்து it's very very important for your exam point of view. As of theory point of view, I've never seen any questions. Okay, since you have celebrated recently World Stroke Day, so you might know something about it, and you have presented a number of cases on stroke.
ஹலோ மேம்.
கேக்குதா? Okay. The class is on stroke. Okay, stroke or CVA definition வந்து என்னன்னா, it's defined as the abrupt onset of neurological deficit, and it's always due to vascular cause. Yeah, it can be either ischemia or hemorrhage. It can be anything. Okay, the definition is a neurological deficit and it is due to vascular in origin, and it is the second most common cause of death worldwide. Yeah, neurological symptoms, it can vary. Presentation can be vary because brain does not store any energy. Yeah, if brain loses blood supply na, first initially the patient will go for TIA. TIA means transient ischemic attack. If the blood is restored within seconds na, then there won't be any neurological deficit. The patient will recover fully. You call that as TIA. Yeah. If the patient, if the blood supply is prolonged for more than minutes, you get stroke. Yeah. If it persists, the blood supply is cut off for more than hours, you will get what is called as hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. Yeah. And have you heard about FAST? Does anyone know about what is FAST? FAST na, F stands for facial weakness, A arm weakness, S speech abnormality, and T is time. This was the motto of the World Stroke Day. Be fast. If you have seen a patient developing any facial weakness or arm weakness or speech abnormality, and the most important aspect here is time. You have to rush to the hospital with the CT scan center within a period of 4.5 hours. Yeah, some books say up to 6 hours. For your exam point of view, you always say 4.5 hours. Yeah, that's what book says. 4.5 hours. Because thrombolysis can be done only if you rush to the hospital within 4.5 hours and you need a nearby CT center. Yeah, I'll tell the importance of this in the subsequent slides. Yeah. So if you're suspecting a patient with stroke, the first step that you should always do is a CT scan, CT pain. First, you receive the patient, you look for the pulse, BP, saturation, and you should see for the sugars, and then you have to look at CT pain. CT pain is very, very important. If a patient reaches to you within 4.5 hours, you should always work very fast. Okay. So for first step is always you should obtain a CT scan. So what is the significance of CT scan? So significance of CT scan lies whether we have to thrombolyze the patient or treatment. It depends on whether on the CT scan. Okay, you take a CT and you think that it is absolutely normal. CT brain report says absolutely normal. What will you do? You have a patient with clinical feature of stroke, CVA, and the CT brain is absolutely normal. What will you do? You treat the patient as CVA. Okay, because the infarct will not be seen for a period of at least 48 hours. You need an MRI to prove that. So if you see the CT brain as report reads as normal, now you treat the patient as CVA. Okay, if you see the hemorrhage, na, then the protocol totally varies. You go to hemorrhage. Okay, in hemorrhage, the first step is always you have to control the blood pressure. If you see a patient with CVA and if you see the blood pressure is more than 240 by 120, we even recorded a patient of 280 by 160 blood pressure. It's always an hemorrhagic stroke. Okay, so in the first step in hemorrhagic stroke is you may not save the patient, but the one thing that you have to do is you have to control the blood pressure. So you have to reduce the BP to up to 140 by 90 mmHg by using IV antihypertensive. That is the main step, and then you have to search for the cause. What is the reason? Okay, it could be either hypertensive ICH or it can be either due to aneurysmal SAH. A subarachnoid hemorrhage. It can be either due to rupture of any aneurysm causing SAH, causing hemorrhagic stroke, or it can be due to hypertensive. Yeah. Then the treat then the treatment will vary depends upon the cause. Yeah. So first I will complete the ischemic stroke. Yeah. You take a CT brain and the CT brain is normal. You treat the patient as ischemic stroke. Yeah. And the next step is you have to find the cause. Okay, but in class you should always say, yeah, everyone will say whether it is a traumatic stroke or embolic stroke. Yeah. In how will you see in a CT or history wise now? So patient will be normal. Yeah, night if you see look at the history, now the patient will be absolutely normal with no other comorbidities, or the patient will be known diabetic, hypertension, CAD, and multiple drugs, dyslipidemia. On that history background, the patient will go to sleep peacefully, and when he gets up from the bed, the patient will not be able to get up from the bed. That will be the classical history that you can demonstrate from the patient. So that is usually an ischemic stroke, thrombotic stroke, due to atherosclerosis of the vessels, causing ischemia for the brain tissue. Okay. Yeah, whereas if you look at the embolic stroke, it can happen anywhere in the day. Next one, the patient it will usually occur in the background of some underlying heart disease, or you will make out the heart disease when you oscillate the patient. The patient mostly will be in atrial fibrillation or ECG. You can easily make out this. And the CT brain, you will see multiple infarct that will not be seen in a ischemic stroke. The atherosclerosis usually will affect a single artery, or embolization from atherosclerosis also will occlude only single vessels. So particular area infarction only will occur. Whereas in embolic stroke, it will be like shower of emboli. You will see multiple infarct in the brain. The CT report will read as multi-infarct state. Okay, that's how you come to conclusion as whether it is an ischemic stroke from the thrombotic or the embolic stroke. Yeah. If you see the CT report which reads as hemorrhage, then the DD will vary. It can be either due to hypertensivity or it can be either due to aneurysmal subarachnoid hemorrhage. Okay. Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, if you see the neurologist வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, they won't see the CT brain. They'll see the clinical features and they'll directly locate on the brain where the infarction has occurred. Everything is based on clinical presentation only. Okay, our final year case வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it's a hemiplegia. You will get typical hemiplegia. We call it as dense hemiplegia. The patient will have contralateral hemiplegia and the UMN type of facial nerve palsy. You will present it as anterior two-third of the posterior limb of the internal capsule is affected. It is due to the lenticular striate branch of the middle cerebral artery. Okay, that is what our usual final year case, typical CVA that you will keep. Okay, usually you will divide the stroke into anterior circulation stroke and posterior circulation stroke. Okay, anterior circulation stroke the branches from the internal carotid artery will be affected. Like ICA, if it's affected, you will call it as anterior circulation stroke, or middle cerebral artery is affected, you call it as anterior circulation stroke, or anterior cerebral artery and anterior coronary artery. If anything is affected, you call that as anterior circulation stroke. Hello, கேக்குதாமா?
கேக்குது மேம்.
Okay. If you want me to stop, just say stop. I'll stop. Okay. So stroke வந்து ரெண்டு தான். Okay, anterior circulation stroke இருக்கு, posterior circulation stroke இருக்கு. Okay, if a stroke arises from the branches of the internal carotid artery, you call that stroke as anterior circulation stroke. Okay, if you look at the circle of Willis, you have two vertebral arteries, and the two vertebral arteries will join to form one basilar artery, and the basilar artery will in turn divide into two posterior cerebral artery. Up to this level, you call it as posterior circulation stroke. Okay, two vertebral artery, one basilar artery divides into two posterior cerebral artery. This entire thing is posterior cerebral artery. And if you look at the upper part now, you will have ICA, internal carotid artery. From there, you will get middle cerebral artery, anterior cerebral artery. This combination is anterior cerebral artery. Okay. So what we usually get the case is middle cerebral artery occlusion, that is ventricular side branching, which usually affects the which supplies the internal capsule, posterior limb of the internal capsule, where the corticospinal tract goes. After bifurcation, it goes via this way, posterior limb of the internal capsule. So that's why you will get the contralateral hemiplegia in the patient, and the facial nerve nucleus is also present there. So you will get the UM1 type of the facial nerve palsy. Okay, ma? That's the logic behind why I am saying this. And, when you see the anterior cerebral artery, yeah, when the anterior cerebral artery is affected now, you will get a clinical presentation as it can present as either paraplegia or paraparesis or quadriparesis or hemiplegia. It can present as anything, and the patient will present with urinary incontinence. Okay. Next is posterior circulation stroke. When you look at the posterior circulation stroke, now the vessels are the vessels affected are vertebral. It can be either vertebral artery or basilar artery or the posterior cerebral artery. It can be anything, and it usually supplies thalamus. Uh, it pons midbrain thalamus. இதெல்லாம் most supply பண்ணும். So the patient will present with sensory disturbances or breathing difficulty or vision disturbances. That will be the classical presentation. You can make in the history itself. Okay. So first and foremost thing in stroke is to be fast. அதான் வந்து first aim. So patient வராங்க, if they come to ER and they say that the patient was apparently normal till 2 hours back, na, you should do nothing. You go see the patient. If the patient is
Hello, ma'am.
having any facial weakness or arm weakness or speech abnormality, you just rush them to a CT center.
Ma'am.
You take a CT. That is the golden period. The 4.5 years. Time.
Hello, ma'am.
Never say 6 hours. Some books say 5 to 6 hours. Some hospitals even follow 6 hours. You just say 4.5 hours. Okay. இல்லைன்னா MRI diffusion spectroscopy இருக்கு. Yeah, diffusion weighted spectroscopy. Yeah, in that you can easily make out the stroke. It will tell you the infarct zone typically where you live. So in CT brain, you will usually get as normal report. You move on to treatment. You should always say physiotherapy. That is the main treatment, and it's a multidisciplinary approach. ஹலோ.
ஹலோ மேம்.
கேக்குதா?
கேக்குது மேம்.
சரி, வேற எதிரி கேட்டுச்சு, ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் கேட்டுச்சா?
மேம்
ஹலோ, ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் கேட்டுச்சா?
ஹலோ மேம்.
எதிரி கேட்டுச்சு.
ஹலோ
லாக் அவுட் ஆச்சு
மேம். நடுவுல கொஞ்சம் பிரேக் ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு மேம். அந்த போஸ்டீரியர் இது சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கும்போது கொஞ்சம் பிரேக் ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு மேம்.
Ma'am, we were talking about
எப்ப லாக் அவுட்
multidisciplinary
ஆச்சு?
approach in treatment.
ஓகே, எப்ப லாக் அவுட் ஆச்சு கடைசியா?
அந்த எம்டிஆர் இது
ட்ரீட்மெண்ட்
எம்டிஆர் ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் முடிக்கும் போது லாக் அவுட் ஆயிடுச்சு மேம்.
ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் ஆஸ்பெக்ட் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா if someone
ஹலோ.
asks you always
ஓகே.
சரி. ஸோ ஓகே கேக்குதா? ஓகே, ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதான். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து raise tube put a raise tube to prevent aspiration, you catheterize the patient and you take care to prevent any urosepsis, and you ask the patient, you ask them you ask them to do physiotherapy, you ask the attenders to turn the patient from side to side to prevent bed sores. இதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து மெயின் ட்ரீட்மெண்ட். அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் வேற எதுவாக இருந்தாலும் அந்த மெயின் ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி ஆன்டிபிளேட்டட்ஸ். The only antiplatelet that is approved for stroke வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா aspirin தான், not clopidogrel or any other antiplatelet that you see or study. Okay, if someone has say aspirin, it's always the low dose aspirin 150 mg that we give. Okay, usual low dose is 75 to 150 mg. What we use is 150 mg. Okay, there's actually the use for an dual antiplatelets. There were trials were there. அதாவது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா low dose aspirin 150 mg plus clopidogrel 75 mg. You have to give it for a period of 21 days. It will prevent the development of new stroke for a span of 90 days. இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய ட்ரையல் வந்து நடந்திருக்கு, but it's not approved as of now. Nobody prescribes dual antiplatelets because if you forget to stop the drug by the 21st day na, there's increased risk of hemorrhagic transformation of the infarct. So usually dual antiplatelets is not allowed. Okay, mostly in government setup we will not use a dual we will not prescribe a dual antiplatelet for any ischemic stroke patient. You will always give a low dose aspirin. That is the only treatment that is approved for patients with ischemic stroke. Okay, if a patient presents to you with embolic stroke na, you find out the cause. So you will do an echo for the patient. ஏதாவது RHD இருக்கா இல்ல நான் வெல்லர் AFA, you find what's the cause and you start the patient on anticoagulants, and the treatment is always for lifelong, and the physiotherapy is the main thing. You give a good physiotherapy, the patient might walk in a span of 3 to 4 months. The patient might walk. Okay, hemiparesis. Next, and the most important thing வந்து பார்த்தா when you do a ward rounds in a patient with CVA, you always look for the sensorium of the patient. Yeah, first day if you see na, the patient will be awake. If you ask them na, there will be some movements. If you ask them to close the eyes na, they will close the eyes. They will raise the opposite normal hand. They will do. Yeah. The most important thing only you have to look for the sensorium of the patient. If the sensorium drops na, it's an indication to take a RCT, because the edema tends to expand within 3 days mostly, or a period of 7 days also. After 7 days the edema will not expand. So if you see at a private hospital, they will take CT every 48 hours. Okay, you go for a ward rounds. Yesterday she was normal, and today if she is drowsy or she doesn't respond to painful stimulant, you ask for a repeat CT. There can be edema. Okay, or sometimes it can cause obstruction to the CSF flow. The patient may develop hydrocephalus. The patient would have developed herniation, or there could be any hemorrhagic transformation of the infarct. These are the warning signs. So you should always look for the sensorium of the patient. Okay, that's the most important thing. Yeah, and the rehabilitation is going to be the main treatment. Yeah. So have you heard about IV thrombolysis? இங்கே பண்றாங்க. Okay, IV thrombolysis na, there are indication. So if you rush to the hospital within 4.5 hours na, you can do an IV thrombolysis. Okay, IV thrombolysis drug வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா recombinant tissue plasminogen activator. The altiplase, tenecteplase, the reteplase அதெல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. What year வந்து tenecteplase யூஸ் பண்றாங்க patient. ஓகேவா? So there are entry criteria இருக்கு. எந்த patients வந்து you have to select for the IV thrombolysis சொல்லிட்டு. The first foremost thing, indication. Age should be more than or equal to 18 years. And the clinical diagnosis of the stroke. The patient should have a clinical picture of stroke, and the patient வந்து should rush to the hospital within 4.5 hours, and the CT brain should not show any evidence of the hemorrhage, or there should be evidence of the edema of involving more than one third of the MCA territory. These are the indication where you can start the patient for the IV thrombolysis. And the drugs we use is RTPA, recombinant tissue plasminogen activator, 0.9 mg per kg. Okay, the first 10% will give it direct IV. அப்புறம் வந்து slow infusion for a period of 1 hour. The routine protocol that is used. Okay. And the most confusing thing வந்து தான் someone will get confused. இந்த மட்டும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. Blood pressure. What is the significance of blood pressure and glucose in CVA? யாராவது தெரியுமா? When a patient comes to ER, the blood pressure is very, very important. Yeah. So blood pressure. Okay. Patient has a clinical feature of hemiplegia, and the patient has a blood pressure of 200/100. And the next question is whether you should prescribe an antihypertensive or not. That is the first question. Okay. In any other patient, you have to prescribe a antihypertensive. But in CVA, in the immediate CVA, you are not supposed to give any antihypertensive for a blood pressure of 200/120. Because the book says the blood pressure is more than 220/110 mmHg, you have to start the patient on antihypertensives. Okay. Because if you suddenly reduce the BP, blood pressure, there's a chance the patient, that area may go in for the reinfection. So you're not supposed to reduce the blood pressure at least for a period of 48 hours. Then after 48 hours, the target blood pressure is going to be 130/90 mmHg. Okay. So remember this, in the blood pressure, you are not supposed to reduce the blood pressure. Okay. If it's less than 210/110 mmHg. Yeah, you're supposed to reduce if it is more than 220/110 mmHg. At least for a period of 48 hours. After 48 hours, your target blood pressure is going to be 130/90 mmHg. Okay. If the patient is a candidate for thrombolysis, IV thrombolysis, then the target blood pressure is 185/110 mmHg. Yeah, I'll tell you what the protocol we use here in RGH. Okay. So we receive a patient in ER 206. We receive a patient with features of hemiplegia. We ask the patient will say history. Yes, ஒரு மணி நேரத்துக்கு சாப்பிட்டு இருந்தாரு, நல்லா தான் இருந்தாரு. The patient was apparently normal before 1 hour, and they rushed to the hospital because they are nearby. The patient was last seen normal past 1 hour. So the first thing that we'll do is we take the patient for CT scan, and there is if the CT scan is normal, or if there is no evidence of any hemorrhage, then we ask for neurology consult because he is a candidate for IV thrombolysis. Yeah, and the most important thing is what are the contraindications for IV thrombolysis? Means the patient should not have any bleeding episode within the past 3 weeks. Yeah, and no head injury or no major surgeries. And the patient or blood pressure should be less than 185/110 mmHg. Yeah, and the CT brain should not show any evidence of the hemorrhage. If all these things will be there, we will ask for a neurology consult, and the neurology PG will come and he will thrombolyze the patient. Okay, va? If the patient is not a candidate for a thrombolysis, then the patient will be started on antiplatelets. That is aspirin only. Okay. Please do not comment on dual antiplatelets in a patient with stroke. And there is another thing called as a mechanical thrombectomy. Mechanical thrombectomy is like in CABG, like they keep a stent in heart la madri, they'll keep the stent in middle cerebral artery. Yeah, if a clot is a major clot is there in the middle cerebral artery or in the intracranial part of the ICA, they are candidates for mechanical thrombectomy. They'll keep an angioplasty there. For this also the duration is 4.5 to 6 hours. 4.5 hours, but they can extend up to 6 hours. Okay, this is called as mechanical thrombectomy. Okay, next cardiac embolic stroke, you have to look for the echo, and you will have to identify for the source of the embolic shower, and you should start the patient on anticoagulants. What we use is warfarin, and the target INR is going to be 2 to 3 always. Okay, next one, if you take a CT and you see the patient is having hemorrhage, so what will you do? Nalla CT scan la, if you take a CT brain and you see ஒரு white ஒரு heterogeneous இருக்கு அப்படினா patient, you say that the patient is having hemorrhagic stroke. Okay, number medicine side, the most important thing is going to be hypertensive ICH. Okay. The classic location, the most common site when the basal ganglia, you have to say it as putamen, not basal ganglia. Okay, there is order. So first when the putamen, followed by thalamus, then cerebellum, and then pons. These are the common site. It is due to the rupture of small penetrating arteries deep in the brain. When the blood pressure is so high, they tend to rupture the small blood vessel which is penetrating the brain. You will get ICH. The most common location is going to be putamen, followed by thalamus, and then cerebellum, and it's going to be pons. Okay, so the clinical history. If you ask a patient now, the patient will be brought to the ER in an unconscious state, and there will be a episode of seizure usually. When compared to the frequency of seizure is higher in hemorrhagic stroke when compared to the ischemic stroke. Okay, seizures are very common, and the patient, it can happen anywhere in anytime in the day. Okay. Ischemic stroke on the usual in the early morning, but the hemorrhagic stroke it can happen anytime in the day. And the patient sensorium will usually be poor. And here the blood pressure target is going to be 140 by 90 mmHg. You have to reduce the blood pressure immediately. There's no need you have to wait. Okay, the target blood pressure is going to be 140 by 90 mmHg. Okay, for ischemic stroke, it's going to be 220 by 110 mmHg. Or if you're going to thrombolize the patient, the blood pressure target is 185 by 110. For hemorrhagic stroke, it is always 140 by 90 mmHg, and you have to do it emergency target, and then you have to find the cause, whether it is hypertensive or aneurysm, it's going to change. It's going to be game changer. And the most important thing is going to be cerebellar stroke. Keep this in mind. If the patient has a stroke in cerebellum, whether it is ischemic stroke or hemorrhagic stroke, that doesn't matter. Okay, any stroke, if there's an edema, because there is foramen of Rashka and Magendie, the edema can cause the obstruction of the CSF flow, and the patient may present with acute hydrocephalus, sudden loss of sensorium, and the patient may present with features of the raised ICT. Yeah, so if the patient presents with cerebellar stroke, the treatment is going to be neurosurgery. Yeah, the patient has to be taken up for the neurosurgery. There is no need for a medical management. There is no use for a medical management in that setup. The patient will suddenly collapse. Okay, so raised ICT, the features for raised ICT. You have to look for the warning signs in the patient. Okay, so clinical examination, you look for the pupil. Okay, whether the pupil is equal reacting to light, anisocoria, if there is any lateral ductus palsy, yeah, if there is any abnormal breathing pattern. Have you heard of Cushing reflex? Abnormal breathing, okay, bradycardia and raised blood pressure, Cushing reflex. These are the features of the raised ICT. Yeah, if there is any features of the raised ICT, you have to start the patient on anti-edema measures. Anti-edema measures, you have to water restriction, and you have to head and elevation, and you have to give mannitol. Yeah. Mannitol dose is going to be IV QID. Yeah. 25 grams QID. Sorry. 25 grams every 6th hour you have to give to reduce the intracranial tension. Okay, these are the warning signs. So in a patient with hemorrhagic stroke, the main treatment is going to be antihypertensives and antiepileptics. Yeah, there is no role for any antiplatelets or the anti-edema measures. Okay. And next, the hemorrhagic stroke, it can be either due to, first thing what you discussed is hypertensive hemorrhage. Okay, hypertensive ICH. Next one, it can be either due to aneurysmal, subarachnoid hemorrhage also. It can be either due to subarachnoid hemorrhage. The subarachnoid hemorrhage, it can be either due to trauma, or it can be either due to the presence of aneurysm. The aneurysm would have ruptured. That could be the reason for this. So in such a case, the investigation of choice is going to be CT angiogram. So if you do the CT angiogram, it will tell you the location of the aneurysm. And depends upon the location, the patient can be candidate for the clipping or the coiling, and the surgery might not be possible. And the main aim is going to be antihypertensives and anti-edemas. That's the main treatment. There, the target blood pressure in SH is going to be 160 by 90 mmHg. The target blood pressure will always vary for everything. Ischemic stroke is different, hemorrhagic stroke is different. In hemorrhagic stroke, hypertensive ICH is going to be different, and for the SH is going to be different. That's going to be 160 by 90 mmHg. Okay, in SH, we use one important drug. Cerebroselective calcium channel blockers. Have you heard of this? There's a drug called as a nimodipine. Yeah. We use nifedipine, amlodipine. அதெல்லாம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா peripheral, it acts only on the peripheral blood vessel. We have something called as a nimodipine. It's a cerebroselective calcium channel blockers. Okay, it will reduce the vasospasm in the brain, specific for the brain, thereby reducing the ICT. Yeah, SHL, that's the main drug that we would use. So in SH, the treatment is going to be anti-edema measures, antihypertensives, and the cerebroselective CCPs. That's going to be the main treatment. Yeah, or the ICH, it can be either due to any AV malformation, and there it's going to be depending upon the investigation, mostly neurosurgical aspect, not anything from the medicine aspect. Yeah. Next, there's a term called as an ring stroke. Yeah. What is the cutoff for ring stroke? யாருன்னா தெரியுமா? If the patient develops stroke age of less than 45 years, okay, why we call the patient is having ring stroke, and the causes will vary. It can be either due to mostly it be either due to connective tissue disorders. அப்படின்னா it can be either due to hypercoagulable state like protein C, protein S, factor V Leiden mutation, இல்ல prothrombin gene mutation. It can be due to this. So the patients are more prone to develop thrombosis. The patient might develop stroke. Yeah. Or it can be either due to any vasculitis like giant cell arteritis, Takayasu arteries. It can present like the rarest presentation can present as stroke. If it involves ICA, the internal carotid artery, the patient may develop anti-circulation stroke. Okay. Next, there's a term called as PRES. PRES na posterior reversible encephalopathy syndrome. Okay. It is usually reversible. Okay, that's hence it's called as PRES. It usually affects the occipital region. Yeah, because of the high blood pressure, the blood flow will be reduced. It will cause the mostly occipital zone infarction. It is usually reversible. That's what we call as posterior reversible encephalopathy syndrome. These are some of the rarest causes for the development of the stroke. Okay. So mostly that's what needed for your examination. So I'll just sum up. Okay. Hello.
ஹலோ மேம்.
Hello. கேக்குதா?
கேக்குது. கேக்குது மேம்.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll just sum up. Okay. Cerebral vascular accident, stroke na, it's a focal neurological deficit, and it's always due to vascular. If you see a patient, developing facial weakness, arm weakness, speech abnormality, and the time here is going to be very important. The golden time is going to be 4.5 hours. You take the patient to a nearby CT scan facility and you take a CT for the patient. The CT brain is normal, or if it shows any impact, you treat the patient as ischemic stroke. If it shows any hemorrhage, it's hemorrhagic stroke with the simple. Straightforward. Okay, so here the history is going to be different. Ischemic thrombosis and embolia, that's going to be one of the important thing in ischemic stroke. Okay, so whatever the reason, if it is going to be a thrombotic stroke, you're going to start the patient on the antiplatelet. Okay, so if your patient if he has reached the hospital within 4.5 hours and you have proved that it is not hemorrhage and the blood pressure is less than 185 by 110 mmHg and there is no contraindication for the IV thrombolysis, the patient is a candidate for the IV thrombolysis, and the drugs we use is RTP, recombinant tissue plasminogen activator. Or if the patient is not a candidate for the IV thrombolysis and if he has reached the hospital within 4.5 hours, then he is going to be a candidate for the mechanical thrombectomy, particularly if the thrombus has involved the middle cerebral artery or the intracranial part of the ICA, that is the anterior circulation main vessel. If it is involved, the patient is a candidate for the angioplasty. Yeah. Or you are going to put the patient on antiplatelets. That's going to be the main treatment in the patient with the ischemic stroke. If it's going to be an embolic stroke, you have to find the cause for the embolic stroke. In CT brain, you see a shower of emboli, multiple small emboli, like they say in biliary TB. The brain நிறைய small impacts. If you look at the MRI, அங்கங்க ஒரு hyperintense lesion இருக்கு. So you can say that the patient is having an embolic stroke. If you can embolic stroke, do an echo, find out the source, whether it is a valvular or non-valvular atrial fibrillation. So whatever is going to be the cause, the treatment is always going to be the same. You are going to start the patient on antibiotics. The treatment is going to be lifelong. There is no stopping of the drug. And the antibiotics that you see is always an aspirin, low dose aspirin. There is no role for the dual antiplatelet as of now. It's all on the clinical trials. Okay. And the anticoagulant is always going to be in water. Yeah. So it's going to be a hemorrhage on the other spectrum. And the target blood pressure is going to be 220 by 110 mmHg. If you can candidate for the thrombolysis, and the blood pressure is going to be 180 by 110 mmHg. So if you look at the hemorrhagic stroke, you see for hypertensive lesion, you say that the patient is having hemorrhagic stroke and the cause will be it. If it's a known hypertensive or if you see the blood pressure is more than 240 and there is an angina, you can say that the patient is having hypertensive hemorrhage. So hypertensive hemorrhage, the treatment, the most common location is going to be Putamen. That's an exam question for you. Okay, and the order மட்டும் ஞாபகம் வச்சுங்க. Putamen, Thalabus, cerebellum, pons. இந்த ஆர்டர்ல வந்து hypertensive bleeding வரும். Okay. So here the aim is going to be reducing the blood pressure. Okay. So here the target blood pressure is going to be 140 by 90 mmHg. That has to be done immediately. As in hemorrhagic ischemic stroke, after 48 hours, the target blood pressure is 130 by 90. The hemorrhagic stroke, it can be either due to subarachnoid hemorrhage. Yeah, the subarachnoid hemorrhage can be either due to trauma or due to the fracture of an aneurysm. Here, the target blood pressure is going to be 160 by 90 mmHg, and there is need for the cerebrospinal calcium channel blockers, nibodipine. Okay, and the treatment is always rehabilitation of this patient. There's nothing much we can do for this patient, and the most important thing is physiotherapy. And you have to always check the patient for the presence of any body pain. That is raised AC. Like look for the bugle size, look for the extraocular movements, look for the presence of any breathing pattern, and the blood pressure is always very important when you do clinical rounds. Okay, and edema, they tend to expand from 3 to 10 days. From 2 to 3 days, edema usually doesn't expand over the period of 10 days. So the patient sensor graphs you take for a repeat CT. Okay, so that's all as of now. Okay. Okay, and very sorry for the inconvenience. என் ஐபேட்ல வந்து ஒர்க் ஆகல. ஸோ நெக்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ்
தேங்க்யூ மேம்.
ஓகே, நம்ம ஸ்லைட்ஸோட பார்க்கலாம். ஓகேவா? என் ஐபேட் ஸ்டக் ஆயிடுச்சு. சாரி. தேங்க்யூ. பை.
தேங்க்யூ மேம். தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you for the class, ma'am. Thank you for the class, ma'am.